welcome back to our channel Autistic Multiple Life. This channel was created to erase stigma around autism and dissociative identity disorder and other condition in dissociative spectrum and other type of neurodiversities. And today I want to speak why dissociative people, multiple people, plural people, plural system are so invisible in our culture. Recently, my wife found out that Donna Williams, quite famous autistic self-advocate and writer from Australia, was multiple, as they were diagnosed with DID, and actually they even write about it and posted video about it. My wife was thinking that it's possible because my wife was reading Nowhere, one of autobiographic books of Donna Williams, when Donna Williams quite kind of writing about their childhood experience, and many stuff in this experience was like my own experience, like a system. And my wife was reading this book before she met me. After that, when I realized that I'm part of the system, my wife read it and started to search information about it, about Donna Williams. And it was quite weird that person who is really famous, whose work is translated to Russian language, to many different languages, and this person is quite famous in autistic community, in self-advocacy community, in disability right community, and she was co-founder of the first pro-autistic organization created by autistic people, for autistic people, with Jim Sinclair, and one of the first person who kind of built this kind of neurodiversity movement. And in the same time, when this person was diagnosed with DID, and this person speak about her multiple experience, no one was kind of no interested in it, and it was quite difficult to even find information about it. It's no information about it, for example, in Russia, and I'm sure in many different languages in which Donna Williams' works was translated. So, and we noticed in our own life that sometimes it's kind of be a multiple, be part of the system. It's kind of like be a thriller character when you try to explain that you see or heard or was experienced with something and no one believe you, and you started to have this kind of self-doubts. Maybe it's not true, maybe I'm not multiple, maybe this stuff not existed. Or even if you don't have the self-doubts, if you was diagnosed or was lucky enough to find support in internet, plural community, or with people too close to you, or find a way to understand your past experience very good, and was kind of unstable situation when you don't have all the self-doubts. It's really difficult to be part of the system, because most people just don't realize what DID is, even in a country like UK. When we was living in Russia, we have this situation with autism. Many times we kind of teach our psychotherapist or our therapist or people who working with other people, like equal support in LGBT community, what autism is. So we was making this kind of pedagogic or work that we don't have to make. We teach this kind of specialists the stuff that they need to know, and sometimes we was clients, they were specialists, and we was helping them. And we noticed that at the same time it was so good when we came to UK and don't have to face with that again. But at the same time we noticed that in ordinary clinics and ordinary helplines, people who work there who perfectly know about autism or, for example, obsessive compulsive disorder or bipolar condition and other stuff, don't know much about dissociative identity disorder or partly dissociative identity disorder. And it's kind of weird because dissociative condition is so common, and it's near 2% of people have this condition, and so why it's so erased from our culture. And after that, this Donna Williams story came to our mind, and we're thinking that it's not just erased in our culture, it's not just ignorance, it's like kind of, even when person with DID try to speak about their experience, it's look like people around us don't want to recognize it and try to ignore it. It's more look like people deliberately gaslight in our experience. It's really more like in kind of these thrillers films, in thrillers movies, when everyone around try to gaslight your experience, and you don't understand what's going on around you. And we think that if we're speaking about GID, I don't believe that dissociative identity is kind of disorder, that be part of the system of kind of disorder. I just use this common term. So when we speak about DID, or if you prefer, like we prefer multiplicity or experience of plural systems, we have kind of, I think, three main problems why our experience is erased by society, why society don't want to see us. The first, I think it's maybe because of films like Split. In mass culture used to show us like kind of murderers, monsters. Yeah, in mass culture, when we, I don't know, even in sci-fi like Babylon 5, when you find something about people with several personalities, and this common trope when some of personality kills someone. For example, in Babylon 5 it was episode about telepaths, and one telepath guy killed his roommate. Actually, alter of this guy, he killed his roommate because his roommate found out that this guy is part of the system. This guy was scared that Psycho, this authoritarian organization that control telepaths, would lock him away or even kill him. So one of the alters killed his roommate and ran away, and the host don't realize what's going on. Or for example, I think you know all this stuff in Split about kind of beasts that alter, that actually kidnapping and tortured girls. So in mass culture, all this dissociative identity stuff associated with thrillers, with horror movies, or with some kind of sci-fi or fantasy tropes, or even drama tropes about evil alter or monster alter. And so if someone says that I am multiple, people around became scared. People around just remember this stuff from mass culture. That's completely bullshit, because most of plural people more often became victims of abuse than abusers, like other neurodivergent people. But it made many plural systems, many multiple systems be scared to make this kind of coming out. I know many people in the autistic community who are also part of the system, but they speak about their autistic experience openly everywhere. if they're queer, they speak about their queer experience openly everywhere, but they're frightened to speak about their plural experience. And even if they speak, their friends or their kind of family members sometimes try to erase it, because they are afraid that someone would behave like their friends or family members monster. So even if this this that person became brave enough to speak out, his friends or her friends, their friends, try to erase it sometimes. The first reason. The second reason is the reason that my wife, I think it was more her noticing. So yeah, sometimes when people meet someone who was part of the system, they started to think that this person are pretending, or this person a liar, this person tried to find more attention, this person do something deliberately wrong. For example, sometimes even my wife was thinking that I am kind of mocking her when I couldn't do some very easy stuff that I used to do every day. For example, when child altar came, or that I don't understand some very simple stuff like how to switch off the tap on the bathroom, because non-human altar came, and it's look like I'm mocking everyone, or like I don't try to be a completely independent adult person or stuff like this. Or for example, a new situation when someone became friend with person who is part of the system, and this part of the system tells their stories, but after that it's their new friend realized that the story wasn't the story of the body, wasn't the story of the host, and it looked like lying, like deliberately lying. And after that, in many cases, this situation this relationship kind of finished in bad. This multiple person, this alter, became victim of abuse, of some kind of accusation, and for many years this English person, ordinary person, live and believe that they just was meeting some kind of joke who was mocking them or lying to them. And after that, this ordinary English person find information about multiplicity, about DID, and realized that their former friend or their former loved one or their former colleague wasn't a liar at all. Maybe their former colleague or friend or loved one in reality was just part of the system, and the stuff that they made wasn't their fault in reality. They couldn't just control the stuff because child alter came and messing something around, or they wasn't lying because it was just memory of the alter, as the alter don't have memory of the body. And it could be difficult. It could be difficult to realize that you maybe abuse someone, or you maybe blame someone, you maybe behave with someone like this person is a joke, but this person was just part of the system. And so it's a kind of protective mechanism, or easy to say no, system don't exist, this stuff is all bullshit or lie, or that okay, system exists but not so often, or just kind of shut these memories, these ideas about new information away and live like you were living before. So it's more question about privilege. It's like, I don't know, it's like sometimes in the LGBT community, when a person was homophobic and after that find out that their best friend actually gay, this person could become even more homophobic, because the person became scared that their images of world is just falling down. So it could be like in this situation with LGBT, only in much stronger way, because homophobia is something that you actually speak aloud in society. That we already all knew what homophobia is, we all knew what gay man is, or gay woman, but we don't know about multiplicity much. And consequences could be more strong. And I think the third stuff about why it's not so many kind of understanding what the idea is, and why people sometimes like prefer not to listen and not to see this information. I think it's more about this experience could be too weird to singlet, too weird to kind of our culture in many ways. Because, for example, most of the people really have dissociative mechanism. Most of the people really have the situation like they behave in different ways with different peoples, and we multiple just have it in 10th time more stronger. So they most of the people really could realize this experience, even if person don't have very strong dissociative mechanism and don't have dissociative mechanism at all, it could happen. Especially if person is neurodivergent, they could just kind of understand it logically. But many people just looking at mass culture and don't find anything proper except of these monster images. And all this, our culture, it's often about, for example, personal responsibility. One person responsible for their own action, only their own actions. But what to do if it's several guys in my head? Or, for example, in our culture, most of the time it's more about kind of relationship when one person, one body, even in one body, have relationship with another person in another bodies, of course. But imagine that someone have relationship with their alter, or imagining when your partner is alter, your partner one of the system, and another guys in the system could have their own relationship. For people who are not polyamory, it could be kind of even scared idea, imagine it. So all our culture so created by singlet to singlet that kind of pure experience seems too weird to understand it. And sometimes when people see something weird, even without all this kind of guilt, even without all this kind of misunderstanding, they just preferred not to look at it because it's too difficult. They decided it's too difficult. They decided that it maybe would be better if it would be more real, so I wouldn't face with it. It's not my problem, it's not part of my life. So it's like a person who hates math sees this kind of big math problems, and this person just look at it and their brain kind of shut out. I don't want to look at this math problem, I don't want to deal with it. Or person who hates politics prefer not to watch political debates too long. So this kind of person who don't interestingly this kind of psychology just prefer to believe, really prefer to believe, it's more easy to believe that multiplicity is not happened very often. Да, вот, я как-то так, вот, да. Я даже не знаю, I don't know. Yeah, I don't actually know what they were speaking about, but it's like we have this Padawan plate, like kind of Jedi plate, only I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Yeah. Hi. Hi, hi, hi. Do you like cats? Toy cats? 1 minute. I would bring one, okay? But here, only it's not my, it's Lina's. But I like this bright star, and I like this, I don't know, it's rose. We bought Iman's little brother bright star toys, but this was for Lina. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, now as I say that I need to say something in the end that we used to say, okay? Thank you so much for your attention. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to make it more visible. Oh, I see 3 cats. Yes, 3 different cats. And yeah, someone would see you next time. And sorry that now video is not happen so often, but maybe we would make it more often soon, because now we have some psychological problems and don't rest from it yet. But anyway, see you next time. Bye everyone.